Hello, my fellow students. I'm not sure how you spent your weekend, Saturday and Sunday, after midterm exams are over. For me, on Sunday night, it's 11:55 p.m. in my office, recording this video for you for May 3rd class. We're talking about the entrepreneurship and the importance of it, and I told you that this era is all about entrepreneurship, particularly for young people. When I was young, or I was a college kid, and we never had this many these opportunities, like the governments or universities is preparing special programs for students in terms of in the area of a startup business. So I think today's chapter is meaningful in that sense, and I want to give you some common sense or basic information about entrepreneurship and the things about you need to prepare for. And I'm going to briefly recall what we talked about first 3 minutes or so. So here we go. This is a definition of entrepreneurship, and I emphasize the risk part, right? That when you start your own business as an entrepreneur, there is the risk of starting and running a business. In anything you do, the risk is inevitable. Anything you do, the bigger risk you take, the more benefits or outcomes you might get, and that's a rule of life. I told you how to minimize your risk, particularly if you're trying to get into business at an early age. For example, if you are a college kid and you want to start your own business, then how are you gonna handle that, and how are you gonna make it successful down the road? Because you're young, you're not experienced. So what is the way to minimize your risk? And can you remember what I said? It is right here, that the cup theory, right? You want to copy or imitate what other people did. I'm talking about some successful entrepreneurs. You need to learn from these guys. If you are lucky, you might be able to talk to them directly, or if not, at least you could read books that the successful entrepreneurs wrote. When you go to bookstore, there are a number of different books, both domestic or international. There are people who forged a great future in business area, like Steve Jobs, or like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. You could learn from their books. And in addition, after you imitate it enough, whether indirectly or directly, and you have to fully understand, not only reading it, not only knowing it, but you have to fully digest it. And that's what I call understand. Without understanding things, it's not going to come into your brain or into your subconsciousness. According to Charlie Munger, it is let us work, right? The let us work. Put that in your brain, firmly, that you could use that anytime automatically. To do that, you need to fully understand the concepts. Just simply repeating the right answer on your exam doesn't take you anywhere. And third, when you fully understand the secret to their success, now you could go on your own. Be creative, right? Different. Do your own way. That's what cup theory indicates. And, so that you need to learn at an early age, particularly if you want to start your own business. You need to learn the things about management and how to do business, the basic rules. Without having them, And how are you going to be able to maintain your success for a long period of time? And you need to have experience, right? And, as I said, indirect experience or direct experience. Right now, there are so many different ways you can experience. For example, if you can Google, you can read books, and you could watch on YouTube, like a tutorial or any kind of exclusive interview that you probably be able to guess and imagine or vividly feel any kind of success or failure too. And also, if you have some great mentor, that's a great advantage too. You could ask people anytime, particularly if you have some kind of mentor who are competent and experienced and kind. And having the right mentor is a great advantage. So I told you that cup theory is truly the stepping stone or the way you should go. And I want my students to keep that in mind for the rest of your life. This theory has been the case for over hundreds of years, or maybe thousands of years, and most efficient way to minimize your risk. I think Jeff Bezos also followed the cup theory. All the professors he met and friends, including his wife, and it's applicable to many entrepreneurs or all of the entrepreneurs we consider successful. And success in business is based on what? And I just want to remind you that freedom is the key ingredient. Why? Because of the freedom of keeping all the wealth or profits in their pockets for the ordinary businessman. That is a great motivation or motive for jumping into the business, competitive business. And what is the opposite word of entrepreneurship? Well, can that be? Entrepreneurship stands for the key aspects of or the merit of entrepreneurship is freedom. Then the opposite word could be something different from that. And I think as I told you many times in the past, I don't want to be managed by other people. I want to manage my schedule and my life. And if you become an entrepreneur, that you could control your time as well as your schedule, right? But if you are working for a company under somebody else's control, then you don't have freedom like successful entrepreneurship enjoys. So, as I told you, Adam Smith said, freedom is vital to survival of any company, especially freedom to own property and keep the profits. That's the foundation of capitalism. And as you know, the reason why the Soviet Union collapsed about 30 years ago or 20-some years ago, the reason is because of lack of freedom, economic freedom. No matter how hard they work, the profits will not come to any individual. So you see the importance of freedom. Many people are not aware of it because freedom is free, like a complementary these days in our country. But once you are stripped of freedom, then you know that freedom is such a precious thing for all of us. So entrepreneurship is, in other words, it's a freedom, right? Freedom to make money, freedom to keep your profits, freedom to move around, freedom to travel, if you think it's deemed necessary. So don't take it for granted. The freedom is such an important concept in the development of human history, politically and economically. And the 4 factors of production, and I think you guys were told 5 factors of production in my previous classes, but this time I only showed you the 4 elements of the production. And as I told you, what's the number 5? It's knowledge, as Peter Drucker valued so much. These days, we call this era the time of knowledge. That's why you're here. You know, between the good cooks and waiter and waitress, who's gonna be making big money? And many students who are answering me, it is good cooks. And I think my students are pretty smart, and they gave me the right answer. Why? You know, no one talks about products these days. You know, people are not really contemplating on the quality of products. For example, IKEA or I'm not sure how to pronounce in this country, and IKEA or IKEA, they don't make quality products, and they assume that people will throw away their furniture in 4-5 years. You know what I'm saying? About 40-50 years ago, quality control or the total quality management is the key theme in our industry, manufacturing sector. But somehow things are changing. You know, as I told you, everything changes. According to Heraclitus, the only constant is change. Meaning that people don't want to have quality products, and they want to throw away, they want to buy a new style, new products, you know, every few years. So when IKEA is designing products or making a product, they don't build manufactured things to last, and they know that customers are whimsy, and so that, you know, they will buy again in 5 years or 5 years later. So in that case, when the quality products doesn't matter, then what matters? What matters is the number of customers. And you see here, the Steve Jobs, I think this video is when he was like in 40s or early or 30s, when he was much younger. And he also said in his video, and product quality doesn't matter. We'll take a look at briefly and move on.
What holds it back, do you think? It's funny, the group of people that do not use quality in their marketing are the Japanese. You never see them using quality in their marketing. It's only the American companies that do. And yet, if you ask people on the street which products have the best reputation for quality, they will tell you the Japanese products. Now, why is that? How could that be? The answer is because customers don't form their opinions on quality from marketing. They don't form their opinions on quality from who won the Deming Award or who won the Baldrige Award. They form their opinions on quality from their own experience with the products or the services. And so one can spend enormous amounts of money on quality. One can win every quality award there is, and yet if your products don't live up to it, customers will not keep that opinion for long in their minds. And so I think where we have to start is with our products and our services, not with our marketing department. And we need to get back to the basics and go improve our products and services. Now again, quality isn't just the product or the service, it's having the right product. You know, knowing where the market's going and having the most innovative products is just as much a part of quality as the quality of the construction of the product when you have it. And I think what we're seeing is the quality leaders of today have integrated that quality technology well beyond their manufacturing, now going well into their sales and marketing and out as far as they can to touch the customer, and trying to create super efficient processes back from the customer all the way through to the delivery of the end product, so that they can have the most innovative products, understand the customer needs fastest, et cetera, et cetera. In most companies, if you're new and you ask, why is it done this way? The answer is because that's the way we do it here, or because that's the way it's always been done. And in my opinion, the largest contribution of much of this quality thinking is to approach these ways of doing things, these processes, scientifically, where there is a theory behind why we do them. There is a description of what we do, and most importantly, there is an opportunity to always question what we do. And this is a radically different approach to business processes than the traditional one, because it's always done this way. And that single shift is everything, in my opinion, because in that shift is a tremendous optimistic point of view about the people that work in a company. It says these people are very smart. They're not pawns. They're very smart. And if given the opportunity to change and improve, they will. They will improve the processes if there's a mechanism for it.
Well, I think this video is not what I intend to show you, but anyway, I need to explain and more detail about what he said. I told you in the beginning of before the start of before I play this video, I told you that this video was filmed about 30 years ago. 30 years ago indicates, when was it? Like the 1990s or even 40 years ago? I mean, he looks like in his 30s, and he was born in 1955 or so. The 30 means 1980s. Anyway, that era in 1980s were still the era of product quality. Now, people talked about, the importance of quality. And I think the Japanese were known for quality. Toyota and Nissan and Honda in the motor vehicle sector. And Sony was the number one electronic manufacturer back then, followed by Panasonic. So we're talking about product quality era, and that's why he's saying that in the marketing, when marketing talks about products, and no one believes, but Japanese people never emphasize or advertise, or they're focused on the marketing scheme that emphasize their quality. But still people believe in the quality of Japanese products. And I think he's talking about the genuine, the belief, or their dedication or commitment to quality products in the company will be understood by consumers eventually, even though you don't artificially trying to exaggerate the quality on your products of your products. So anyway, so my point is that in 1990s and even since 20 years ago, that people are more focused on customers, the customer satisfaction, or the customer delight. And that's what I'm saying, that the focus is on the satisfaction of a consumer. And I think the waiters and waitresses in the restaurants, they are understanding customer satisfaction much better than cooks, the talented cooks in the kitchen, because cooks never really speak to customers directly. There's no way for them to figure out what will be satisfying their customers, I think. So you should, and I told you that the startups these days, you have to look for a niche market. The niche market means the small area that you need to start small and eventually become great. That's a niche market. And I think Steve Jobs and his partner Wozniak is a technician and engineer who studied in UC Berkeley. They when they were young, when they started their startup business in their 20s, and they focused on that the personal computer that no major conglomerates and big electronic companies were interested in. It started from niche market. And I told you that normally the business people who understand the concept of management and business are the not a big money maker, not the engineers or your scientists. They are like, everything has to follow the rule, but for scientists or technicians, and there's no like overnight success for, but I think business people are always looking for how to, get things done, even though rationally things are not, understandable. The businessmen are always looking for some miraculous success, the ideas, and whatever it takes, they're trying to get things done. You see the difference between the businessman and the scientist or the technicians, between the two. And I think Steve Jobs was a business person, while Steve Wozniak was an engineer who always wanted to get things done step by step. And this is a video, and I showed you, and Wozniak is telling the talk show host Conan that he's always following the rule. He's trying to always do things step by step. On the other hand, Steve Jobs was ahead of him, and sometimes things doesn't make sense. And Steve Jobs' imagination is beyond description. But the thing is, people remember, all these achievements, financial achievement of Apple company is all the the work of rather Steve Jobs. No one really remember this Wozniak as much as, I'm saying that Steve Jobs is the main person that everyone remembers when it comes to Apple. And here I want to show you one story in rural Massachusetts, and you see that there are many small stores, and you will see there's one Chinese grocery store. It seems like pretty small and a humble store in the rural area. But the thing is, that I could tell you, in that small business, from that small business, the owner is raking in a lot of money every year. Like every month is more than 10,000 US dollars from such a small grocery store. Can you imagine? And why that happened? What's the reason behind that kind of big money business? It's a niche market, And everything started small. McDonald's was a small local hamburger restaurant in 1950s. And Walmart, which is the largest discount store in the United States, was a small corner grocery store in Arkansas, I think, if I'm right. And then it grew astronomically. So my point is, including Samsung, back in 1930s, they had a small grocery store selling rice and the general products, and it became the gigantic electronic company. These days. So what can you learn from that? Everything started humbly, right? Everything. almost everything. In the beginning, it was a small step, but as time goes by, it became a miracle. The rule of miracle. So what is that? What is the key thing? Right, when you go to the United States, you probably go to New York or Los Angeles or Chicago. You will be landing in a big city normally. And many of you will see there are Korean towns in Los Angeles, in New York. Every time you step into that Korean town, you will notice that huge supermarket named Super H Mart or ASI, or maybe there one more. You know what? Washington Post reported about the growing power of Korean supermarkets in the United States. It's a promising business. In 1980s, it was just a small, tiny grocery store in the corner of a New York street. No one paid attention, but there is a handful of people, grocery owner, who envision that someday I will be making this business a super big one. So you see here, title here, 32 years after they started their business in a urban downtown as a very small, tiny sized grocery store, it became a billion dollar business in the US. And that's the case of H Mart. You see, that's a startup business in 1980s when many people are not thinking that there is a way that with this business I could be a billionaire. There are small number of people who saw the possibility. And I the reason why I'm telling you this story is that for many of you, that some of you might catch that opportunity, will see that opportunity, and eventually kept that in your mind for the rest of your life, and eventually turn your business successful. Just like the case of H Mart. The Washington Post analyzed the reason for their success. And number one, they lowered the price because they got different sellers. They have a list of different sellers who could offer you a better price. And then they have some kind of, alluring products so that the Westerners will be interested in visiting, right? Some kind of special products that will be like bait products. And then number three is that they always carried fresh veggies, and even fresher than many ordinary American supermarket. And the number four, that there's a word of mouth among the famous restaurant chefs. I don't know, word of mouth. And I think this is, all these secrets behind their success are not that confidential. Anybody can imagine. Then why some people made it happen, like the owner of the Asian supermarkets, like Super H Mart or ASI, they made it happen while other owners were not. You see that all these logos in any major cities in the U.S., including Boston. Boston, I think about 10 years ago, they also opened H Mart near Harvard and Yale. The MIT. And the population of Boston is about 1.5 million. It's not that many, like in New York or in Seoul. But H Mart is expanding their business throughout even the medium-sized cities across the United States.
Years ago, H Mart began with a dream to introduce America to traditional Korean food and culture. Today, we're the #1 Korean American supermarket. We started because we wanted to make our families feel at home, even when it was so far away. So we promised to lead the way for generations to come. From Asian to American to new global cuisine, we have it all. The delicious possibilities await. H Mart, a Korean tradition made in America since 1982.
Yes, they even have a television commercial for the American, citizens. And I think I have one more video that just about a week ago or so, in this Corona crisis, in San Francisco, a new H Mart had an opening ceremony. You see that. The many people gathered and excited about having a Korean supermarket.
2,
You see,
3.
tape cutting.
Yeah! Thank you so much. We will hold off on the opening.
So now San Francisco has one more Korean grocery
We'll collect our scissors.
or discount supermarket.
Okay.
And I think not only Koreans but also the white and black Americans or Hispanics will be enjoying visiting the place. You see that the little niche idea, these days you have to target a small group of people. You don't want to target the mass like a large, the majority of people. That era is gone. It is the era of niche market. And I think Koreans are doing well. And, people are appreciating the Korean culture and Korean products, and which they cannot really see, the taste. They cannot find the taste in their own traditional marketplace that the Korean supermarket is providing. You never are too young to be an entrepreneur. This indicates that at the age of 22 or you're 21 or 25, you are old enough to start your own business. The reason why, the younger, the better, and these are the reasons. You see that if you start your business at an early age, that you don't have monetary pressure as much as the older generation could have. You don't have a mortgage or the kids to take care. Many of you in college programs are single and not married yet, so you don't have any children to take care, and you don't have any borrowed money as of now. So you have a light, weight. And then secondly, you can survive on little funds and work long hours. And you are young, you have energy, and you have a passion, enthusiasm in the area that you're interested in. So, unlike people like me who work at this time at 12, 40, or 30, then I'm slowly losing my energy and my focus is getting into trouble. You probably be able to stay all night and be still alert. You're still on alert, and so I think it's good for you to start when you're young, and you could survive on little funds. You don't need to have, McDonald's or pizza will be enough for you to have energetic life at your age. And no disruption to your career path. It hasn't started yet, because you are in your college education. So you don't have your firm career yet. right? You didn't enter into any big company, which indicates that, your career has not officially started, like the real career. You could try out different things. You could like see what you can do. If you have your own small business, particularly technology oriented these days, like internet or app, whatever, and use your alma mater for resources. And as a college student, and I think you could speak to your alma mater and get in touch with them and ask for information or advice or consulting or any kind of mentoring. So you are, when the young guys visiting their, the alumni, young guys are visiting their, the people who graduated from your college, and they'll be probably open-minded and give you all the details and trying to give you the advice you need, and if you have the energy to visit them. So all these things combined, and I think you're going to get a lot more than you expected if you start your business at an early age. And you see that there's one lady whose name is Kim So-hee, and about 3 years ago, this lady in the video, or in the photo, sold her company to French cosmetic corporation called L'Oreal. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. At the price of $500 million. That's about 6천억 won. I mean, at the age of what? I think it's about 37 years old right now. So when she sold her company 3 years ago, she was only 34. She made $500 million from that sale. You know what? She first created her startup when she was 21 or 22. She sold clothes through the online mall. And she made like $10,000 every month from the sale. And later on, she decided to found her own company startup at the age of 22. And what? Within 12 years, she ended up selling her business at that price. So age doesn't matter. If that lady who graduated from technical high school, vocational high school in Incheon, and she entered the junior college, and then, she was able to enjoy such a great success. And success started, in her case, also from her strength. I told you all things started from what Steve Jobs emphasized. Do you know what I mean by that? What did Steve Jobs stress and put an emphasis on? There are many multiple ideas, but I want to tell you today is that Steve Jobs clearly said, find what you love to do. Find what you love to do. That should be the starting point of all things for smart people. And for Kim So-hee, what she loved to do was going to the marketplace and choosing different clothes. And she has an eye to distinguish between the special design and the ordinary ones. You know what I'm saying? With that sharp eyes, that was her asset. She was born with that sense, the sense of choosing the right clothes for women. And people were paying, the ladies and consumers were paying like what? A lot of money on her sense of, choosing the right clothes. You know what I'm saying? So, what are your strengths? And that should be the beginning point of unfolding your career later on. and you will be able to make $500 million. I'm not saying that money making is the greatest thing on earth. I'm telling you that why not make money, and why not, using the money for the sake of the old man, or for the sake of, social contribution, or like co-prosperity and sharing your wealth with the underprivileged people. And I think many of you know that Hyuk. He is the producer of BTS, and he is now the owner of the Big Hit Entertainment. And we want to listen to what he says, because his comments will be related to the young startup business people. Oops.
대면하고 안주하고 타협하는 건 제가 살아가는 방식이 아닙니다.
He said that don't make compromise on your dream. Okay? That's not my style. I don't want to make compromise when it comes to the real genuine passion. Right? That's not my style.
원대한 꿈이 있거나 미래에 대한
Okay? So that's what it says, just like Steve Jobs or any successful entrepreneurs. And Hyuk, the reason behind his super success is that sticking to his own dreams and passion and find what he loves to do, which is composing music and writing lyrics and impress and pleasing his customers and fans with his great music, And that's what the true, genuine entrepreneurship is about. It should start from your strength. It should start from what you love to do. And like Hyuk and JYP and Kim So-hee, all these people never forget what they like to do in their lifetime. Day and night. And they were contemplating on what to do next day with their talents, with their strengths. They knew that's the only way that great things will happening in the future. So the reasons for taking the entrepreneurship risk, why people are entering into entrepreneurship or starting their own business. We go back to what we talked about in the beginning of this class today. Right now it's 45 minutes, 12:45 after midnight. Independence and freedom again. Now I think you guys were hearing many times from me that freedom is one of the key or most pivotal or important reason for starting a startup. Or starting or founding a company. And then there are opportunities. There are opportunities for money, opportunities for leaping onto a better or bigger level or higher level. And profits. Profits is like air and water these days. I think even 2,000 years ago, the ancient China, people were saying that money making is like basic instinct of a human being. You don't need to learn how to make money, or you don't need to learn in your classroom that making money is a good thing. Everybody knows. So they say it is a human instinct. And challenges. Some people enjoy challenging, and many people believe, particularly the successful business people, say that life is all about challenges, meaning that they want to do different things, different times. People are always energized by new things. They always want to experience different things. And just like you don't want to eat the same food time after time consecutively, they're looking for new stimuli, a new thing is what all people have in our instinct. So, and that's what it is. And what does it take to be an entrepreneur? What does it take to be an entrepreneur or business people? Self-directed, If you have to be told to do something, for example, if you always depend on your parents or teacher or other people on what to do, then your chance of becoming successful entrepreneur is pretty slim. You need to direct yourself. You don't need other people's help to move on, right? And as I told you, that you don't want to be managed by other people. You don't want to be told by other people what to do. The people who are passive will not be able to make a good entrepreneur. You need to know how to direct yourself. You need to make sure that you will be, taking you on your own way. And the second is self-nurturing, indicating you need to nurturing yourself. You need to educate yourself. You need to motivate yourself to get to the place or to achieve your goals. I kind of related to the self-directed and action-oriented. The talking will not get you anywhere. By doing things, even though you fail, you will truly learn things. So that action-oriented is always, recommended, not only for entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs, but also for everybody who want to have a substantive results. And highly energetic. Sure, entrepreneurship, you need to be energetic. You cannot afford to be passive or like what? Lethargic? Or, so that highly energetic is the key thing, that you have to think whether you are energetic enough every day. And I will show you one video clip in which the Korea's one of the conglomerates tells you how energetic he was when he was working as the company worker. And tolerance of uncertainty, that entrepreneur indicates, their life indicates that you don't know what's going to be arising. There's no guarantee for success, and sometimes you get into the dark tunnel, and because you cannot predict everything or estimate everything in advance. Why? Because who's going to be able to predict corona crisis? And who's going to imagine that, the unexpected mishaps or misgiving. Life is often, people say that full of uncertainty. Life is like choosing your chocolate box, don't know what you're going to be choosing. That's kind of, the things that we're talking about. So there are, there is a great degree of uncertainty in our life. You need to bear with it. You still need to remain positive and believe that in the end, good things will happen. So here, look at this person, Jung, the founder of Hyundai Motors, who only had the elementary school education, yet he was smarter than PhD in business. Why? Everything he says, he's fully understanding what that means. It's from his own experience. It's something that he really tried. Something that action-oriented. And he's self-directing, he's self-nurturing, and challenging, and what else? Let's go back. and action-oriented? Yes, for sure. That Jung Young is known for action, not his words. And highly energetic? Yes, Jung Young says every day he was waking up before 5 a.m., anticipating all the pleasure he's going to have that day. And tolerance of uncertainty? Yes, his life in the beginning and even in the later age, at the age of 70. There's so much uncertainties in his life, yet he's not afraid of moving up. And you know how tough his life has been or had been. Let's take a look at what he says in his speech, and I'm going to be translating as much as I can.
어려운 일을 해결할 때의 그 기쁨은 좋은 일이 추진될 때 기쁨도 못지 않습니다.
He said that when you solve difficulties, the pleasure of solving these problems are even bigger or equivalent to the feeling that everything were going well.
그래서 나는 평생을 흥분 속에서 살고 있다.
So, I am living my entire life under excitement. My entire life is filled with excitement. You know what I'm saying? Heart beating excitement every day. Can you imagine that?
이럴 때면 소학교 학생들이 소풍 갈지가 흥분해서 일찍 일어나는 기분과 같이 지금도 그렇게 살고 있습니다.
It says just like elementary school kids who were going for a picnic and that kind of anticipating minds every single day, that's how I live my life. You know, that is what true entrepreneurs are doing, and that's the secret, truly, the secret behind their success. You know, when people were living life like that, exhilarated and exciting, thinking of next day's challenge, how can he not be successful? So, you know, that's according to Jung Young, one of the great business peoples in South Korea. Now we go back to our textbook. An idea is a good opportunities, you know. The idea is a good opportunity. I think Steve Ballmer, the former CEO of Microsoft, emphasized so many times idea matters, right? Ideas matter, right? You know, working hard is a secondary. But having a right idea, a smart idea, is always a priority. So, the idea that can satisfy customer needs, that will be making you money. And you have the skills and resources to start a business. And when you have the skills and resources to start a business, and that's a great thing and something you need to prepare for it. And you can sell the products or service at a reasonable price and still make profits. And that's when you can be ready to jump into a startup business. Small in the beginning. So an idea is a good opportunity if, okay, the idea is a good opportunity if it fills customers' needs. And if you have the skills and resources to start a business, or if you can sell the product price at a reasonable price and still make profits. All right, so these are the things. And, you know, these days, if you want to start your own business, you need to work with other people, right? This is the era of working together. All the people who are running the successful business these days, they co-work with other guys. Like Steve Jobs, as I told you that in the beginning, when he was in his 20s, and he started working with Steve Wozniak, who is an engineer, who studied software design and stuff. And as I told you, that Bill Gates had Steve Ballmer in the beginning of his business, and also the Google also have a multiple of, a group of people from the beginning who work together under the same goals. And here, the Steve, what's his name? That Schmidt. The Schmidt tells you the importance of working together. We'll go. Oops.
So how should you do it? How should you behave? We'll do it in a group. It's much more fun anyway. None of us is as smart as all of us. Universities now are good at teaching you how to work with other people. It's no longer the lone light sitting in the lab. It's a team.
So here that, I told you that an idea is good opportunities, and I think we need to add one more element to it, which is if you have a person you can trust, is around you, if you have somebody, great people near you, then talented people, trust people, then you could start your business. Because you cannot do things on your own. So finding your partner who you can trust is the key thing, a basic requirements, indispensable element for your business. And for young guys, this is, as I told you, the online business for young people like you indicates that the analog, the older generation had upper hand. They had advantage. But these days, the younger people, the younger generation has a tremendous advantage over the people of old age. Why? This era is internet and application, apps, or AI, and what else? Data, which weren't the mainstream for the older generation when they were on campus. So you guys have an upper hand, and this is the era for younger generation, and many more opportunities are available for the younger generation. You could take an advantage of it or capitalize on it. For Koreans or international students alike. And the Korean government is also subsidizing or trying to, hand out fund to the younger people, especially the college kids. Intrapreneurs indicating that, as I said here, a creative person who works as an entrepreneur within a corporation, meaning that, and every company these days are encouraging their employees to be creative. So if they come up with new product ideas and they compensate them for the products, for the new ideas, right? So I think 3M is known for it. And small business, as I told you, many or all the major corporations these days were once small businesses. Right? No one started from the gigantic scale from the beginning, and a lot of people have a humble beginning. So I think small business could be eventually grown to the large corporation, and that's the beauty of starting starting your own business. in America, this is some statistics about small business. There are 28 million small businesses in the United States. Of all non-farm businesses in the U.S., almost 97% are considered small. You know what I'm saying? The majority of businesses or companies in the United States are small, right? It's a 97% is much more than we imagine, in fact. And small businesses account for over 50% of the GDP, gross domestic products. Oh, the America is the country of small businesses in a way. And about 80% of the U.S. workers' first job were in small business. So, a lot of people begin their career from small and mid-sized companies in the U.S. So I told you to repeatedly and one more time, the secret to successful, I have to say the secret to successful businessman, to be, like cup theory, right? Secret to Success as an Entrepreneur by Hyuk. He is a journalist and writer. He said the cup theory. Again, you need to imitate in the beginning under somebody. You learn from someone, the truly talented mentor, or under somebody who's really talented. And then you understand the concepts and all the processes. And later on, you break it on your own. You will be creative. And that's how you can be great later on. And in South Korea and Japan, we have apprenticeship system. Like, you spend like 10 years under, if you want to be a cook, and you go work under some well-known cook, nearly 10 years, and then you're allowed to, or you're capable of making your own food, like, thing. So this is the one story I got from our newspaper, that the old cup theory is that it takes 10 years for a person, a novice, to become a sushi chef in Japan. Like normally it takes 10 years until you are able to be calling yourself a chef. So it says that in Korean, first year you never touch the knife. First year you just wash dishes and sweep the floor, right? Cleaning the kitchen. And you never touch the knife yet. From the second year, you just cut veggies, nothing else. You just cut, you clean, and you dishwash, wash the dishes. And in addition, in the second year, you just cut veggies. From the third year, now you touch fish, the raw fish, right? The sixth year, now you cook the rice for sushi. And that rice is different. It's not regular rice. You need to have a different know-how to be able to cook the sushi rice. And then nigiri sushi, meaning that you need to use your finger, your palm, to make a sushi shape until you are able to grab the seaweed and make nigiri sushi. It will take 8 years. So for 2 years, you will be making sushi inside your pan for 2 years. That becomes 10 years. And that's like a 10-year apprenticeship. But I'm not saying, spending that many years to become a chef. And I think rather these days everything is speedy, maybe about 2 years or 3 years. The longest 5 years. You go underneath some talented experts and learn and imitate and understand, and you are able to create your own way, your own method, right? So long, the longest 5 years and 6 years. And I could compare this to the American Baseball League, the minor league and baseball. a major league. When the college graduates or high school graduates sign the contract with the American baseball team, minor league contract is 6 years, right? Within 6 years, you are whether you're going to be a major league baseball player or you end up going home in 6 years. The decision will be made in 6 years. You will be given 6 years to test your talent or to see if you are good enough as a major league baseball player. So that 6 years, maybe within 6 years, you copy, imitate, train yourself, understand, and break, or you show other people or yourself that I'm capable of doing it, right? So major business functions, what is the most important one here? The planning, you need to be a good startup business people, you need to plan. And I want to ask many of you today too that are you planning well? Your schooling, you're studying, you're learning, and whatever you do these days, and you have to ask yourself that I am planning well enough. Second, if you want to start up, have your own business, you need to know how to finance, where the money come from, and how you're going to find secure money for your business. Without money, how are you going to be able to run your business? Whether it's big or small money, you still be able to find money. That's what financing is about. Sometimes you need to make a presentation before people, or sometimes you need to dial phone numbers and get in touch with people who are interested in. And third, you need to know your customers, which is where the money come from. I told you so many times, the customers are the one who give you money, not the products. Even though you have a superb products, but if people don't buy it or don't buy them, then your company might get into bankruptcy. And number 4, managing employees, because, one person isn't enough to make a great performance. The companies consist of people. Company requires different capability, the people of different capability. Without that collective output, or collective cooperation, or collective camaraderie, no company will be able to achieve their goals, will not be able to impress their customers. So that managing employees and motivating them is the must. It's a must element for successful company. And the keeping records, meaning that you need to follow where the money come from. You need to monitor where the money go. Accounting is one of the, keeping records, a form of keeping records. So all these things combined will be making your company successful or unsuccessful. And what's the most important thing in your mind? What is the single most important thing among these 5 things? What is it? I think if Peter Drucker were here, he probably chose the number 3 element, which is knowing customers, or customers are the one, Customers are the everything. Customers are our kings. You know what I'm saying? Because without customers, there are no companies. There are no business. There are no transactions. And there are no marketing classes. You see that? And managing employees, it's a people thing, right? Customers are people, as well as the managing, the employees are people as well. The hiring, training, motivating employees is critical, right? That's why Samsung Corporation, the founder of Samsung, Lee Byung-chul, emphasized time and again, over, time after time, the companies are no different. Companies are the people. The people are the company. So that, and Matsushita said that we are not making products. We make products, but we make people more. Making people is our main business. And that's kind of exaggeration. So employees of small companies are often more satisfied, satiated with their jobs. They feel challenged and respected. Why? The small number of people are working in a company, and the CEOs and president, owners and chairmen know every single people in the organization. And according to Matsushita Gonosuke, 300 is the optimal size of a company, because the president will remember every single names of every single employees, or name of you know what I'm saying. That so and 300 is the threshold for the CEO or top leaders remember the name of every single employee. So what went wrong? 5 mistakes business owners make. Number 1 is that they hire the wrong people. Again, it's a people factor. You don't want to have the wrong people around you. And that's the shortcut to failure. And don't hang around with the negative people. That's what Samsung chairman Kwon Oh-hyun told in his autobiography. And don't want to give up control. They don't want to give up control. And I think control is not the issue, but the best decision is what's always important. It's not the hegemony game. Who's got control, who's not having the control. You always have to make a decision based on what's going to be our best choice, right? Your ego has to be set aside, and the best choice and best decision always has to be respected, and that kind of corporate culture has to be in place. They become complacent. Yeah, complacency is the enemy of your success. Some people who were successful and later on turned out to be a total failure. It's because they became complacent too early. And that's why Lee Byung-chul or Lee Gun-hee, the former Samsung chairman, is always trying to put tension in their organization. The reason why he did it is because he knew that complacency is a big enemy for their success. And number 4, they fail to see new opportunities. Why? Because they are not aware of the importance of innovative minds and innovation. When you get enough money and when you achieved your goal, and then people become slow and they go sluggish, and and when that happens, but your competitors are working harder and they're trying to push for a better output and performance, and when that happens, the new opportunities will be given to your competitors or somebody who's working harder than you. For 5 mistakes indicates that there's one missing, and I'll be telling you that missing number 5 in next class. And I think it's a 1:24 a.m. May 3rd, and I think I spent more than I expected. And I hope I was giving you, enough explanation. Well, thank you very much for bearing with me for like how many minutes? Oh, what is that? 80 minutes? I'm sorry about that. I have to go now. All right, bye-bye.